All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the hilariously different ways that history and culture have completely shaped American and British humor. We've got a really vibrant clash of comedic styles to cover here, so let's just dive straight in. So, the big question we really need to ask is, why exactly do Americans and Britons laugh at such totally different things? Now, keep in mind as we go through this, we're talking about broad cultural instincts today. These aren't hard and fast rules, and spoiler alert, neither side is the definitive winner.
If we look at this from a high level, you'll see that American humor leans heavily into direct, energetic delivery and slapstick. It's loud, it's fun. Meanwhile, British comedy, it totally favors understated subtlety, rapid-fire sarcasm, and makes dark humor way more mainstream.
Now take a look at how the two cultures treat confidence, because this is fascinating. American comedy often celebrates success, big personalities, and those aspirational goals. But on the flip side, Britons absolutely love to ruthlessly mock pretension and basically just laugh right in the face of failure.
When we break it down a bit further, American comedy really thrives on big reactions, sharp one-liners, and a generally optimistic tone. British comedy, though, completely embraces awkward social situations, deadpan irony, and a really heavy dose of self-mockery.
You can literally see these styles embodied by the comedy greats. Just think about the US. You've got the highly energetic, intensely physical antics of folks like Kevin Hart and Jim Carrey. Compare that directly to the awkward, understated brilliance of John Cleese or Ricky Gervais in the UK.
And these traits, they translate perfectly to television. The US gave us the warm, character-driven laughs of hits like Friends and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Meanwhile, the UK delivered the sharper, often cringe-inducing brilliance of shows like Fawlty Towers and Blackadder.
Actually, take The Office as a prime example of how both sides handle embarrassment. The American version softens the cringe with a lot of warmth and character growth. But its British counterpart, it celebrates the awkwardness, just fully reveling in unfiltered, uncomfortable silence.
Let's put this into a real-world scenario. Imagine spilling coffee all over yourself. The American reaction usually finds a direct, optimistic punchline like, well, that's one way to wake up. But the Brit? They'll deliver a straight-faced, sarcastic contradiction. Excellent, just as planned.
Or say you totally bombed an exam. The American approach gives you a very clear setup and payoff. I answered every question. Unfortunately, none were on the test. The British style, however, implies the disaster. Well, I now know what complete disaster feels like.
Now, both cultures definitely use self-deprecation, for sure, but they use it very differently. Americans tend to mix it with larger-than-life storytelling. British comedians, on the other hand, make themselves the absolute butt of the joke. Something like, I'm not saying I'm bad at cooking, but my smoke alarm has started applauding.
Ultimately, the whole thing comes down to delivery. American comedians loudly and proudly guide you to a clear punchline with very animated delivery. British comedians use a totally straight face, pretty much forcing the audience to do the work and discover the punchline for themselves.
So why does this massive split even exist in the first place? Well, it boils down to 5 main factors: deep historical influences, distinct cultural norms, varying television traditions, nuances in language and slang, and simply what audiences have been trained to expect over decades.
But here's the really cool modern twist. Thanks to global streaming and the internet, these distinct traditions are totally blurring. You don't even have to pick a side anymore. You can enjoy high-energy American comedy one minute and switch right over to dry British wit the next.